Have you ever noticed that there are some calls you never really leave? You clear the scene, write the report, and go home. But somehow that call keeps writing in the passenger seat with you. For me, suicide calls were always different. Not because they were more violent, not because they were harder to investigate. They were different because they left questions that nobody could answer. And if you've ever lost someone to suicide, whether it was a partner, a family member, a friend, or someone you worked with, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't just grieve. You replay. You second guess. You wonder if you missed something, or you wonder if one conversation could have changed everything. Hi, I'm retired Sergeant Danny Coon, and welcome to Bulletproof First Responder, where first responders grow stronger in faith, sounder in mind, and unbreakable in purpose. Today, I want to talk about the people left standing after suicide. Why? Because we spend a lot of time talking about preventing suicide, but not enough time talking about how to survive it. One of the hardest things about suicide is that it isn't just one person's tragedy. It spreads. Research suggests that roughly 115 people can be affected by a single suicide. And for many of them, the impact lasts for years. Think about that. Family, friends, coworkers, partners, neighbors, church members, the dispatcher who took the call, the deputy or officer who knocked on the door, the firefighter who had to cut someone down, the coroner, the chaplain. Sometimes we forget that trauma doesn't stop with the person who died. It just keeps moving. I know what that feels like. Over the years, I've lost family members. I've lost academy classmates. I've lost friends. And during my 31 years in law enforcement, I responded to and investigated more suicides than I ever really wanted to. Every one of those people had a name, a family, people who loved them, people who were left trying to make sense of something that often makes no sense at all. One thing I've learned is that suicide grief isn't like other grief. When someone dies after a long illness, as painful as it is, your mind has time to prepare. When someone dies from old age, there's usually a sense that life reached its natural conclusion. Suicide doesn't usually give you that. It's sudden, shocking, and for many families, it comes with guilt, anger, confusion, and questions that never get answered. Those questions can become exhausting. What did I miss? Why didn't they call? Could I have stopped it? Those aren't unusual questions. They're incredibly common. And here's something I really want you to hear. There isn't a right way to grieve. Some people cry every day. Some people don't cry at all. Some stay busy. Some withdraw. Some feel angry. Others feel numb. And some will condemn the loved one who died by suicide, saying it is a very selfish act that deserves a one-way trip to hell. All of those reactions can happen after a suicide loss. The problem comes when grief becomes so consuming that life stops moving. Mental health professionals sometimes refer to that as prolonged grief disorder, where the pain remains intense and continues to interfere with everyday life over an extended period. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. Healing means learning how to carry the loss without letting it define every part of your life. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they had to find the perfect words. You don't. Honestly, most people won't remember what you said. They will remember that you stayed. So the most powerful thing you can do is simply sit with someone and listen. Meet up with them for a cup. If you can't be there, send a handwritten note. Call 6 months later when everyone else has disappeared. That's real support. Validation isn't about fixing someone's pain. It's about letting them know their pain is real and they don't have to carry it alone. For you, this conversation becomes even more personal. You work in a culture that rewards toughness. You are trained to solve problems, expected to stay calm when everything else falls apart. But the downside is that you, like many first responders, have become experts at hiding what's happening inside. Repeated exposure to trauma, combined with moral injury and the pressure to keep emotions buried, can slowly wear down their resilience over time. That's why reaching out early matters. Reach out for peer support, counseling, or talk to someone you trust. Those things are not signs of weakness. They're signs that you are taking care of yourself before things get worse. For me, my faith has always been part of that healing process. It doesn't erase grief. It doesn't answer every question, but it reminds me that God is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit." That promise doesn't eliminate the pain. It reminds us we don't have to walk through it alone. Even during those tough times where you might feel isolated in your grief, take comfort in verses like Isaiah 41:10. "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." It is a gentle reminder that a comforting presence bigger than ourselves is always nearby. For first responders, leaning on faith and loved ones can serve as a steady anchor amid the chaos. And if spirituality isn't your path, that's okay. There are plenty of resources, therapy, and support groups that can help. The most important thing is to connect with others and find sources of hope that resonate with you. Remember, you don't need to wait for the pain to disappear on its own. Reach out, share your feelings, and accept the support available to you. So whether it's faith, family, or a professional hotline, you don't have to face things alone. Healing is truly a community journey, and it's completely okay to ask for support. If you or someone you care about is having a tough time, reach out and take those lifelines. They're there for you. If you are carrying the weight of losing someone to suicide, I want you to know something. You don't have to carry it by yourself anymore. Talk to someone. Lean on people you trust. If faith is part of your life, lean into that. If counseling is what you need, make the appointment. Healing isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about taking the next steps. If you notice signs like long-lasting sadness, irritability, emotional numbness, or even thoughts of self-harm, this isn't just part of the job. It's a warning to reach out. No badge or uniform makes you immune. There are confidential hotlines, such as COPLINE, 1-800-COPLINE, 1-800-267-5463, and the Fire EMS Helpline, 1-800-731-FIRE, 1-800-731-3473. Those are staffed by professionally trained peers who understand. One conversation, one prayer, one phone call, one day at a time. And if today's episode made you think about something you've been meaning to check on, don't wait. Send the text. Make the call. Sit down over coffee. You never know how much that simple act could mean. If something I said resonates with you today, hit that like and share button. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and remember, I'm retired Sergeant Danny Coon, and this is Bulletproof First Responder. So put God and family over work, and remember that healing is a team effort.